Hello. Hi everybody, I'm Debra Prinzing with the Slow Flower Society. I'm in my greenhouse in my backyard in South Seattle. It's July 1st, super overcast. It's probably barely 60 degrees. Like, I'm happy. My flowers are happy. We created American Flowers Week in 2015. I was at the Chelsea Flower Show in London. It was May of 2015. And I had a meeting with some of the people at New Covent Garden Flower Market, which is the big wholesale market. They carry flowers from around the world, but they had a really special emphasis when I was there on British grown flowers because they had just planned and kicked off British Flowers Week a few years earlier. And I was really inspired by the idea of British Flowers Week, and the folks I met with said, hey, why don't you start American Flowers Week? And I thought, sure, I'll do that next year. That was May, late May. I came home to Seattle. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I literally had 5 weeks to do this, and I decided, let's just kick off American Flowers Week as a social media campaign. I decided to have it the week that leads up to July 4th. So thinking that, you know, as a longtime member of the media, no one thinks about July 4th after July 4th, but leading up to it, there's a lot of stories, a lot of interest. It just seemed like the topic was going to be hot the week up to July 4th. So June 28th to July 4th is the week. No matter what day it falls on, it culminates on July 4th. So today is July 1st, and we are in our 12th year of celebrating American Flowers Week. And I wanted to just pause and make an arrangement for my celebrations. I'm really excited that I have red, white, and blue flowers. Sometimes that's a challenge. So I'm going to show you a little bit about how I approach this design, talk about what I've grown and what is from other flower farms. To be perfectly honest, I had lots of choices of white, a few choices of red in my garden, and nothing blooming that was true blue. I have lots of, you know, purples, lavenders, but nothing in that kind of blue that would like match my shirt, that chambray denim blue. So I've got this fun white and blue vase. This is from a Belgian artist. I bought it when I was in Belgium in April. I love the shape. It's like a crunch circle. It's almost like an abstract oval. And I love the idea of a play on modern Delft. So that is not American made, but it is made by an artisan. So I'm excited to have that as my base. And then I'm just going to get started. It seems to me really that white is a good base for your American Flowers Week, July 4th, 4th of July celebration, because at this time of year, there's so many great white ingredients. Let me show you what I have. Use as my base these oak leaf hydrangeas because they're just coming into bloom and they're so beautiful. I'm just going to set these right here while I show you everything else I have. Also, they will fill that space. I don't have a mechanic in here. I have designed in this vase with both a oval vintage flower kind of cage. I happen to have one. It fits in there perfectly. And then also coated chicken wire. I'm really hesitant to put regular chicken wire inside this because I don't want to scratch the beautiful ceramic glaze. So I've got the hydrangeas. They're going to really fill up that opening and act as sort of a volumizer. But I also have these wonderful double Shasta daisies that I planted actually as a throwback or homage to a garden I had in Southern California from 2006 to 2010. I always had Shasta daisies, the doubles. They just remind me of Southern California. So what's more Americana than that? Okay, that's my white. I may run out to the garden and pick a few more things. I'll probably shoot a little footage of these plants and edit it in so you can see how they look in my garden. So I've got the oak leaf hydrangea, I've got the double Shastas, and then for my red, really the only thing I have red, true red, are these crocosmia. And I normally don't love them in the garden. Again, this is a sentimental flower, but this is the true red. And I like to cut them when a lot of it is in bud, because they don't hold super well once they're fully bloomed. So I've got that. Now for my blue, I had to buy all my blue, and I went to the Seattle Growers Market a couple days ago and had a great time shopping. First of all, I've got this Eryngium sea holly. And the Eryngium is very delicate. I don't know the variety, but it's not that big, stiff globe thistle style of Eryngium. It's a little more delicate, and it kind of has a silvery blue tinge to it. So this was grown by Aaron Gatsky and Aaron McMullen at Raindrop Farms. They're down in Corvallis area. Love this. And then I have two wonderful, just dreamy options from Caitlin Carnahan at Diamond Day, which is over on the Olympic Peninsula near Port Townsend. Here is this wonderful forget-me-not, Chinese forget-me-not. Look at that color. That is just truly the perfect blue. And it really matches my shirt perfectly. And this is a type of flax. And normally I see flax when it's not in bloom. I see it when it's in bud or when it's already lost its petals, but this color is also really fun and perfect. It will add a lot of nice texture to the arrangement. So that's my red, white, and blue. And I'm going to start with my oak leaf hydrangea. There's a lot of foliage on these stems, but I'm going to cut some of it off. But I do love seeing a little bit of that oak leaf. To get started, I might use some stems that have more leaves and then trim them or edit them once I get them into the vase. And I mean, they get crowded in the garden. This particular shrub is by my front door, and there's a pot, there's some ornamental grasses, and sometimes these stems get kind of forced to the side. So they've got a lot of personality to them. But for me, I like that actually, so that this is draping over the edge. Okay, so my favorite kind of way to approach this vase is sort of build a triangle. High, low to the sides, and something more upright in the middle. And then I start building opposites. This one will come toward the front, also in the middle. And even as I'm going, I'm seeing that some of the foliage is going to get embedded in the vase, so I've got to cut that out. This is my fifth one, and we'll see how it looks once I get everything else in. As I said, I might have to enhance this composition and add a few more. Actually, when I harvested these, I didn't really know what vase I was going to use. So I looked around the house and looked at all my blue options and white options. I have a lot of solid vintage creamware and even some fiesta ware. Perfect options, but this vase, it's my latest favorite, so I've only had it for a couple months. Okay, these Shastas have been hydrating, but none of them have been processed, so I'm going to clean up the stems. They're sort of like teddy bear sunflowers, the way they have this double fringe style petal arrangement. But these also hold up a long time in a vase and will be they're so summery, they're perfect. I want to sort of get a little height out of these, so I'm going to cut them at different heights, but hopefully they'll rest nicely in between the oak leaf petals. It's really fun. I'm designing with the camera facing me so I can see. It's sort of like designing in a mirror. I want to also fill that center, so I am going to cut a little low. You can kind of see how I'm doing that. Let me work with this side facing you for a minute. So I'm getting my kind of first layer, which is all white. Gives a nice, I guess, canvas to design the rest of the arrangement on. Look how curved that neck is. This one is, again, kind of got pushed against the plant by some other companion plants in the front border. Now we're going to add some blue. I have so much to work with, but I think I'm going to start with the more delicate elements. And the flowers do kind of arrange themselves up and down the stem, so I'm going to shorten these stems, take off some foliage, maybe sacrifice a few blooms just to get the length, the height they want. But these are going to be so dramatic and kind of get my blue attitude going very quickly. And again, communicate red, white, and blue. Thank you, Caitlin, for growing these. They're so beautiful. And you know, it is hard to get blue when you want it, but the flower farmers here in the Northwest, and I see all across the country, are really trying to have blue because it's a perfect accent, as I see it, and with a lot of colors, a lot of wedding colors. So you see it with obviously whites and greens, but also peaches, corals, any shade of yellow, and blue is sort of just that little touch. You don't even need a lot, but it catches the eye. I'm going to probably use all of this because I love it so much. And it's not a focal flower for sure. I would call this a textural element. I don't like to use the word filler. And I know that the flax is very similar in texture, but I'm going to use it a little taller. And it has a little bit more transparency than this. This reads as a massive blue, kind of color blocking. Okay, as I said, it is a little bit more of a line flower. I'm going to use it a little taller. Kind of like my sparklers. These are my sparklers for my July 4th arrangement. I have so much of it here. I'm probably going to break it down so that these multi-stem cuts can be just used one at a time. And these will be taller, and these will be taller also, and kind of setting the line for when I add the crocosmia. And this is a 360 arrangement because I'm going to have it, I think, on my dining table. My dining room is actually in the entry of the house, so when people walk in, it's sometimes the first thing they see. So I'd like to have a floral arrangement. I'd like to have a nice tablecloth, some art to kind of welcome people. Okay, so that's for now. I'm going to just have that lower layer of the more dense, beautiful sort of 5-petal miniature beautiful forget-me-nots, and they are not line flowers. They've got a more of a drape and a movement, and then we've got the wonderful flax that is more upright. Now, these are also very much like fireworks, and so I think I'm going to put a few in now and then see how I can arrange the crocosmia around these. And they are somewhat upright and rigid, so that kind of, I don't have to worry about them flopping at all. When I put them in, they're going to stay where I want them to be. I positioned this one so it's kind of front facing because it's really a stunning option. Okay, let's get our red element in. So there's a lot of foliage on these. I probably am going to take almost all of it off because it's low on the stem and not really needed. But let's see how this looks in here. Yes, there's my fireworks. One of the things I've learned from so many of the designers I've written about and interviewed and taken classes with is varying the heights gives a lot more dimension. So even on this, the fact that I can vary the heights and have high-low is going to make this a much more interesting arrangement. So they're facing in every direction. They're at different heights, and these are the ones that I have that have actually bloomed. And I have a few more that are pretty much in bud, but they are going to echo the red. Okay, one more thing to add. I'm going to go out into the garden and cut my first lily of the season. It's white and it's going to look perfect as a focal flower. I don't think I have more than one, but I'm going to go see what I can find. Okay, here she is. I'm not sure of the variety, but these were given to me when I started working with the Dutch lily bulb exporters, and I got a whole crate of bulbs, and I have a lot of them planted in pots along the side of my greenhouse, so I can move them if I need to. When they're ready to bloom, they get lined up there. Okay, how does this look? That's a great focal flower for this red, white, and blue July 4th American Flowers Week arrangement. And I'll post some photos, and thank you so much for joining me.